Hi, happy Wednesday. Today we're talking about the 13th Amendment, and this is the first of three Reconstruction amendments that you guys are going to be studying this week. So, with the 13th Amendment, it's a great thing, right? Because what it does is it eliminates slavery throughout the entire United States. Okay, so no more of this, oh, some here, none there, etc. Nope, no slavery at all throughout the entire United States. Okay, but there is one big exception, which you guys are going to find out about in just a moment. All right, so bear with me. Here we go. Now, first off, you know the 13th Amendment. Well, you remember the Emancipation Proclamation, and that was put into effect on January 1st, 1863. Okay? And that was our boy, Abraham Lincoln, who he said that that was the best part of his entire presidency. It was the thing that he was most proud of. And what it did is it emancipated the slaves in all of the states who were rebelling against the United States, except for those border states. The border states, well, they don't have to worry about it just yet, right? So, also, this was an executive order, okay? An executive order done during wartime. So we know that those don't carry a whole lot of weight. All right, they're kind of like a feather in that regard, and that a predecessor can come along, the next guy can come along and say, nope, it's done. And so, in order to prevent that from happening, they decided, let's go ahead and let's make it an official constitutional amendment. So, what happens is we go through the process here, right? Abraham Lincoln, this is something that is near and dear to his heart, this idea of emancipation. And so, he does not live to see the 13th Amendment fully ratified by all of the states and all of that, but he does get to start the process. And so what happens is, to get any amendment passed, you've got to have a 2/3 majority vote in favor of the amendment in Congress. Now, that's in both houses of Congress. That's in the House, and that is in the Senate. So the Senate in 1864 said, yep, no big deal. The House, it took a little longer. It wasn't until 1865, early on in 1865, and they were kind of like, maybe. But they did wind up also passing it, but they had only 2 additional votes to spare. It was a really close vote. Oh my goodness. All right. Then what has to happen after that is you got to get the states to agree. So you got to have not only this 2/3 majority in Congress, but you also got to have, plus, you've got to have 3/4 of all states ratify it in order for it to become an official part of the Constitution. So what that means is that they had to have some southern states also vote for this. Now, here's a complication. Kentucky, they said nope. They did not want to ratify the 13th Amendment. And probably the reason why is Kentucky. Okay, they were a border state, so they still had slaves, so they were not in favor of the 13th. Now, Delaware, also, they said nope. They are also a border state. Okay, so they were one of the 5 border states for the Union. And so they also said, nope, we're not going to ratify it either. The weird thing is that New Jersey, this guy, you'd be like, what? What's wrong with you, New Jersey? What exactly is going on? Like, why would New Jersey have a problem with the 13th Amendment? It's really hard to know. So whatever. Regardless, New Jersey was a big stinker, and they said, nope, we're not going to ratify it. So what that meant is that now you've got to have more southern states ratify this thing than probably what you would want. So they needed to have 5 southern states, 5 former Confederate states, to ratify it in order for this to work out. So southern states, you would think, ooh, they're not going to want to do that, right? Like that's not going to happen. Well, what the radical Republicans in Congress did is they said, okay, fine, you want to join the Union? Well, that's great. That's such a nice idea. We'd love that. However, we are not going to seat you. We're not going to put you in your seats in Congress unless you ratify the 13th. And so that's how they got their states that they needed in order to ratify this thing. So then it is done as of December 6th, 1865. Okay, that's when it's fully ratified and it becomes a part of the Constitution. Now, let's step back for just a second, though. This guy. So here we got old Andrew Johnson, right? Now, Andrew Johnson became president after Lincoln was assassinated. Here's the thing, though. He vetoed the 13th Amendment. Yikes, okay? What is wrong with this guy? But that's okay, because Congress was able to overrule his veto, and that was a done deal. So let's take a look at the actual text of the 13th Amendment here, all right? So, some things you should know. We were talking about that exception, right? Except. So here's the good part. The good part is slavery nor involuntary servitude is going to be allowed, right? Except, this is the not good part, as a punishment for crime, whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. So, if you have been convicted of a crime, then that means that you are going, instead of just to prison, you may also be held in prison, but you are going to be put to work in a new form of slavery, okay? So this is like a new form of slavery. And you might think, oh, those crimes must have been really big, right? Like they would have to be huge. No. Most of them were trivial, little crimes, and a lot of those were created through the black codes, okay? And black codes were certain laws that were put into place by southern states that were made to re-enslave African Americans after the Civil War. All right? And those could be things like just not having a job, just being unemployed. They could seize a person who's African American who's unemployed. They could convict him of a crime, and then he would go into involuntary servitude. Now, here's the second part of this Amendment 13, okay? Congress shall have the power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. So, Congress's power is on the rise, okay, with this particular amendment. Now, did they actually do much to enforce the 13th? It doesn't really seem like it at this point. All right, so another thing I want to point out to you guys real quick. There is a documentary called 13th on Netflix. It is absolutely amazing. You must get permission from your parents before you decide to watch it if you've never seen it, but I highly recommend it. It's a really good in-depth look at the American prison system today and how it kind of came to be, and then also the implications and the effects of the 13th Amendment. So, for today, what you guys are going to be doing is you are going to be looking at a video first on the 13th Amendment. You're going to focus on one amendment per day. So today is the 13th, okay? You watch this video first. After you watch the video, make sure to write me a really good summary. I want a really good summary. Please expand these boxes. Then you write your response. You share your thinking, your comments, your ideas, your questions, the whole bit. Next step, you're going to take a look back at the actual text, the full text of the amendment. So here they are, just like I showed them to you, right? You're going to paraphrase Section 1 here, and you're going to paraphrase Section 2 here, put it into your own words to explain what it means, and then you're going to go online and you're going to find a few images and you're going to link them in here. Images that you think demonstrate the meaning of the 13th, and then please write me a brief explanation, like explain how do those pictures fit. Alrighty? So that is your job. Good luck.